There we go. Hey, what's up, guys? Cloud here from GenshinLFG. I just wanted to make a video kind of going over my current Baal setup, and I'll also go over Sara a little bit too, since she's also on the same banner. Um, so yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So one thing I want to say is the Raiden Shogun Baal is an insane character, very, very good. I feel like people are definitely forgetting a lot of things, like for example that the uptime on her E is pretty much 100%, as well as the fact that you could swap to other characters and she'll still her E will still have an effect on the other characters, and continuously attack. So it's a really great way to get energy recharge, do extra damage, and yeah, you really can't complain about that. Her E reminds me of kind of like an electric Shinjo, kind of. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, so let's get into it. So in terms of level 90, that was painful, but we did it. Her weapon, I got her 5-star weapon, Engulfing Lightning, which is extremely powerful. And it has a base attack of 595. But what you really want is this energy recharge. This is really going to make your character really good. If you do not have this weapon, the Skyward Spine is good. What else? The Catch is good as well. So either of those, I would probably go with. I think you can go with the Favonius Lance. I think that has energy recharge. So if you really don't have those, you could keep that on in the meantime. But you definitely want that energy recharge. In terms of artifact sets, obviously it's Emblem of Severed Fate. That is what's going to go on her, and it's kind of the standard setup where you get, this would be your off artifact. It'd be your electric damage, but your electro damage bonus artifact, which is basically, the same for every character. Every character is going to have that slot as their electro damage, their, pyro damage, animo damage. So pretty much the same idea for all the characters. So all right. So here I got the HP flower. One thing I want to say is that farming for these artifacts is extremely difficult. And I don't know what these rates are that they're giving us, but they're pretty bad. They kind of remind me of like Noblesse or Gladiators, where you can never get the substats that you want ever, and you kind of just need to pick and choose your battles, and choose the best ones you have, and don't grind for these artifacts as much as you can, because you're going to just waste tons and tons of resin getting artifacts that are either slightly better or not what you want. So just keep that in mind when farming for these. I would probably do this dungeon like maybe like once or twice a day, at the most, and just kind of have this as an extended goal to get really good artifacts, get a really good artifact set for her, because the drop rate is just god awful. So as you can see, I got HP right here. Not happy about that. I only have crit rate, attack. This one is actually really good. Best one I think I've gotten. I got really lucky with this feather. And then energy recharge, you definitely want energy recharge on her sands. It just makes a huge difference. She's more of a sub DPS support character rather than a main DPS. You can definitely use her probably as a main DPS. Like, you don't need a main DPS if you have her and Sara and like Bennett or somebody else. As long as you have a lot of energy recharge, you can pretty much keep her out a lot of the time. Electro damage bonus. This is amazing. Got very lucky with this one. And crit rate, which so I will show you. I have 104 Emblems of Severed Fate artifacts, and I've only gotten 2 crit rate artifacts and I think 2 crit damage. So basically, what I'm saying is, if you get a crappy crit damage or crappy crit rate artifact, save it, because you probably won't get another one for a very, very long time. So you definitely want to keep it. Like, I am even on my Sara. I'm taking defense HP, because I couldn't get another crit rate artifact, and she ended up having like 20% crit rate and like 200 crit damage, which was just unusable. She would never hit a crit. So, like I said, you got to pick your battles with these artifacts. They're tough to farm. They're definitely not the best. I've done dungeons after dungeons, and for some reason, this Gladiators, Noblesse, and wanderers and things like that, they feel like they're in a different category almost. I could be wrong, but that's just my experience with doing the Emblem of Severed Fate dungeon, probably over 500 times. I've been farming these artifacts for over a month before she even came out, so keep that in mind. Then for constellations, I have C3, which I will say the only one that I've really noticed that makes a difference in terms of her constellations is really C2. So it basically ignores 60% of opponents' defense, which is really good. But other than that, C3 didn't really notice a big change, and C1, it just gives you resolve faster. But as long as you're using enough energy, it really doesn't make a huge difference anyway. So yeah, I would say they're good to have, but definitely not necessary for this character. You'll just have to put a little bit more work into actually building the character. So no sweat there. In terms of talents, right now, obviously, the dungeon to get her level up material just came out, so I'm at 6, 7, and 11. And yeah, that's pretty much my build. She's a great character. I will say, though, if you don't have good main DPSs, if you don't have like a Klee, a Hu Tao, a Diluc, a really good Pyro main DPS, or a good Cryo or something, I would probably say save your Primo Gems and get like a good main DPS, because you're going to need more main DPSs when you get into the later levels of the Spiral Abyss. These characters, I will say I really, really like them. They're great. But in terms of what you're doing on your account, if you're first starting, they're not a game changer, right? When you're first starting, Hu Tao, Zhao, Zhongli, Venti, those are game changers, right? She's very good. She's very cool. But I don't want to say, as of now, I don't want to say she's a game changer. So just keep that in mind. So now that we covered Baal, let's kind of cover Sara a little bit. So I put the Thundering Pulse on Sara. I will say that obviously the Skyward Harp is the best for her, but I put the Thundering Pulse on her. I personally think it looks better. That's really it. Her E is based off her base attack, scales off her base attack. So as long as you have a high base attack, it's not going to make a huge difference anyway. So you see the difference, obviously, 674 versus 604. So that's why you get, more base attack. But you really want to go with, whatever works for your build, right? If you don't have a lot of energy recharge, get something with energy recharge. If you don't have a lot of crit damage, get something with crit damage. If you don't have a lot of crit rate on her, get something with a lot of crit rate. I will say that's the best way I found to kind of build her. Just make sure that her base attack is somewhat high. In terms of artifacts, it's basically the exact same setup as Baal. These are my second-rate artifacts. I obviously put the best ones on Baal. So nothing too crazy. Just trying to get that crit rate, crit damage, and energy recharge. That's really what you're looking for on both of these characters. And just go with the Emblem of Severed Fate again, and you'll be doing tons of damage. Constellation, I have her C6. She's definitely one of my favorite characters. I actually like her a lot. She's really fun to use because it's fun using her and Bennett at the same time and just getting like insane amounts of damage because they both, buff your attack and buff your other characters. One thing I will say that I noticed is when using her E goes away relatively fast. Okay, so I get the attack buff. You can see the feathers. You can see the arrows pointing up. I'm getting the buff, and it goes away relatively quickly. Right, it's already gone. So you want to keep that in mind. Also, if you don't have C2, you'll have to shoot your bow to get that attack buff, which it charges, super fast. So it's not like a big deal. You only have to do it, once until it goes away. Also, one thing to note is, say you buff the attack, and then when it explodes, if her attack is buffed, your other characters are not getting that attack buff. So what you need to do is to buff your other character, you need to switch to them, and then they get the buff, right? So you definitely want to keep that in mind. Okay, so now that I kind of showed you my builds a little bit, I forgot to show your talents. So 10 and 9, not bad, not amazing. We're almost there. So let's go ahead and show you guys some damage of what these characters can do. All right, what's up, guys? So I'm going to show you guys some damage that these characters can do. Now, keep in mind, they're not fully built and artifacts aren't perfect, and I'm not an expert with them yet, but I at least want to show you at least some damage that I can do with them, and I think it's relatively good. So here we go. So as you can see, I mean that's pretty good. Basically, one shots it for the most part. Her ult wasn't even finished, and her resolve wasn't even at max. So pretty insane amounts of damage there. Let's go ahead and move on to Sara. All right, guys. So here I'm gonna go ahead and show you some damage I can do with Sara. I'll be using obviously Mona and Bennett to kind of buff just to see how it turns out. I'm not using any food. I also forgot to show you guys the crit rate and crit damage I have for each character, so I'll go ahead and show you guys that after this. So as you can see, very, very powerful characters. I'm at max world level, so this is what you would see end game. I know there's other players out there that can definitely max these characters out, do the maximum amount of damage with them. I'm still learning every day, but I wanted to at least show you guys, some first-hand experience with these amazing characters. So here I'll go ahead and show you the stats page. So see, I go for a lot of that energy recharge. I have found that energy recharge is extremely important in the later part of the game. You need to have those ults ready as soon as they can be ready. And it's such a crucial part of the game, especially in Spiral Abyss, especially with the high tide, low tide, like that's really annoying. So you definitely just want that maximum amount of energy recharge that you can get with your characters, so you can pop those ults as soon as they're up. I got crit rate at 50, crit damage at 126. Definitely still want to improve these. Not my favorite, but like I said, artifact farming is extremely tough for the Emblem of Severed Fate. So let's go ahead and check out Baal. 256% energy recharge, 56.7% crit rate, and 98.2% crit damage. Pretty good. Still need to work on getting more energy recharge, more crit rate, more crit damage on both characters. Overall, I would say these are two great characters. I cannot say using tons of wishes to get Baal is extremely worth it. I would definitely say Sara is worth it. Absolutely. She's really good. She buffs your characters. She buffs your attack. Super important. She's like a Bennett without the healing. And if you have characters like Hu Tao where, Bennett heals way too much. Like, I don't even have a lot of healing and HP on Bennett for him to heal. And Hu Tao's, health needs to be below, 50% to do the damage that she can do. So you really, really don't want to be healing her all that much. So I run into issues where Bennett's healing too much and she's not doing the max amount of damage. So Sara is a perfect stand-in for her. So definitely would recommend getting Sara. Baal is great, super, super fun. Game changer, probably not. It's hard to say, especially with Inazuma having so many Electro characters, that a lot of the testing that I'm doing is really on characters that it wouldn't do the most damage. Also, the levels are kind of buffed, so we're still trying to figure this out and figure out the best builds and whatnot, and the tricks to really make the Raiden Shogun shine. But overall, two great characters. Can't complain about either. I think they are extremely good, whether you get them or other characters or not. I think this banner just alone is really good. I mean, you have 3 great 4 stars and an amazing 5-star. Definitely worth it. And you can make these characters good with free to play stuff, free to play weapons and whatnot. So definitely don't worry about that. Anyways, if there's any other questions about my builds or any suggestions or tips from you guys to make these builds better, please leave a comment. Please hit me up on Discord. Please make sure to join our Discord, discord.gg/GenshinLFG. If you haven't already joined, we do Primo Gem giveaways and things like that. So yeah, anything you guys have to say to me, definitely let me know. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. What's up, guys? As one last little clip, I want to show you guys what using food and doing the max amount of damage I can possibly do with these characters. So we'll see if I can do this right. Here we go.
Shine down. Let's light it up. I'm going in. Decided by destiny. Now you shall perish.
There we go. So that's what using food looks like. Pretty insane. So like I said, thanks again for watching, guys. See you guys in the next one.